Wait, are you recording?
Yes, I'm recording.
Oh,
This is how it starts.
no, wait, it doesn't say it's recording though on Zoom.
I'm not recording on Zoom.
Oh, you're not?
No, I
Oh.
never do.
Welcome back to another episode of the Gridiron Lion, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Zach Rhoda, alongside my co-host Casey Kreider and a very special guest you've been introduced to already a couple weeks back, my friend, our friend of the show, Dylan Mellinger. Can we get a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going, D-Mel?
It's going great. I'm excited to be back on the show. I love being and talking with you guys. It's a great feeling, great to talk football. I'm excited to see what we get into today. And obviously a big week this week for football, and we'll get into it.
Awesome. Happy to have you on.
Thank you, Zach. So this is week 16. Eagles, Cowboys, obviously is the big game Saturday, Christmas Eve. It's a Christmas miracle as Gardner Minshew and the Philadelphia Eagles take on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. If Philly wins, they lock up the NFC East and the 1 seed. If Dallas wins, they win and establish themselves as a further playoff contender. But we'll get to all that in a little bit. First, though, since we have Zach and D-Mel here, we got to talk about the Eagles and Cowboys games from last week because they were both notable for different reasons. I'm going to start with the Eagles game, and I'll start with Zach. Zach, Eagles beat the Bears, but at a cost. They lose Jalen Hurts for this game. He injures his shoulder. It wasn't really a pretty game to watch. Eagles kind of struggled a little bit, even though Jalen made the plays when he had to. They only ended up winning the game 25-20, though. What was your reaction to watching that game?
I'll tell you what. Hurts played worse when he was healthy than when he actually got the shoulder injury. Because I remember the play where he went down. And then you could tell he was like dealing with pain, but then he played through it and looked fine the rest of the game. But he threw 2 interceptions in the first half, and he's only thrown 3 total all season. And he just looked off, and you could tell he was just trying to force the ball downfield. Nothing was there. I forget the name of the Bears corner, but there was one dude who was on A.J. Brown, and we kept attacking him, but he was having a decent day. And then on total, A.J. Brown ended up just going off anyways, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then Devontae Smith had quite a game too. But, I mean, Jalen Hurts still, he found a way to, as he's done all season, he finished the game with 3 rushing touchdowns. And that's the thing. He had one of his worst games this season, but we still won, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns. So he just set the bar for himself so high at this point. And, yeah, we're not going to have him this week, but we only need one more win on the season. And then not only do we win the division, but also we lock up the number 1 seed. I thought we'll get more into this game later, but I thought it was going to be difficult with Hurts. Without him, I mean, the team itself, it's the number 1. Losing Hurts, who's an MVP front runner, I mean, clearly he's a large part of this team's success. But at the end of the day, it is a team. It's a team sport. So it's not like this team is just win or die, whether or not we have Jalen Hurts out there. Gardner Minshew's a decent backup. So we'll see. But last week, another one, baby. Keep them coming.
D-Mel, did you have any? I know you were a little preoccupied when the Eagles were playing, but did you have any takeaways from that game that you saw or heard about?
I saw something. It was like I was at Aruga's at the time, so I was kind of watching both, keeping an eye out, hoping the Bears would pull it out. But it was a tough game for Philly. There were 3 away games this stretch. This was their 2nd away game in Chicago, cold weather. Bears aren't a terrible team. Justin Fields is special. As a runner, at least, he's very special. And they just kept it close, but Philly just found a way to win, and that's what elite teams do. So
So now they're 13-1, and they have an opportunity to win the division this week because of what happened in Jacksonville. So, D-Mel, what happened in Jacksonville?
A lot happened in Jacksonville, sadly. First we were up 27-10 at some point, and then it kind of just all fell apart while Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore just look at each other like they don't know what's going on and clueless. But I'm going to say something real quick that I've seen all over social media by those people on TV like Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith.
Is this where you stick up for Dak? Yep.
Dak Prescott.
I really saw this coming from a
Dak
mile
Prescott played amazing that game. All right. So amazing. Listen, he had a top 10 QBR last week. Listen up. Which they lost the game, put up 34 points, and still had a better QBR than Burrow, Herbert, Tua, and your boy Jalen Hurts. And they lost. Also, a note on Dak, he is tied for the most non-worthy turnover plays, meaning his turnovers, which he has 11 on the year, 11 interceptions, 6 of them were because of wide receivers not running the right route or dropping the pass. So if you watch the film and you watch the game and not look at the stats, Dak Prescott is playing elite football right now, and he's getting bailed. He has average, mediocre receivers other than CeeDee Lamb, and he has an average offensive line right now, and he's doing as much as he can to try to win. He put up 34 points, and usually that wins you a ball game. So I think they'll get it together. T.Y. Hilton, I know it's T.Y. Hilton washed up, but he has to be somewhat of an upgrade what we have at receiver right now. And I'm excited for this week coming up. I think Dallas is going to really make a statement.
How can you come on this show and say that Dak Prescott played not just good, but amazing when you get to overtime, the score for all it matters, it's literally 0-0. It's literally, that's like a whole new game in itself. The man literally threw a pick 6 in overtime.
Did you see the play?
Yes, he threw a pick 6.
Did you see the play? Did you see the play? Wait. Hold up, Zach. All right.
Yeah, the Jaguars player made an amazing catch.
Look, Dak rolling out to the left, which is not his normal side you roll out to, right? He's the right-handed. He's rolling out to the left. He's making a throw right in the guy's chest. Right in the guy's chest, and it pops up. That's one of the non-turnover worthy plays that he had. And boom, pops up. Nothing you can, it's the receiver's fault. He put it right on the numbers. That is not his fault. That's elite ball placement right there. That's what elite quarterbacks do, and that's what he did, and receivers can't catch the ball, I guess.
That's fair. That's
there's nothing, I don't know. It's just terrible. Poor Dak.
There was the interception before that, though, Demo, when they were. Yes. What happened on that play? Because that one seemed like
that one was his fault. Just rolling out to the right. Got knocked down. Kind of just sailed over. It happens. I don't expect him to play perfect football. I'm just saying half the turnovers he had aren't his fault.
I agree with you on the overtime play, but Zach, do you want to finish speaking your piece here?
Dude, at the end of the day, you can pull up all these advanced stats.
Hey,
I could do that for Hurts, and then I don't even have to do that with him. At the end of the day, it comes down to, did you win the game or did you lose the game? Can we agree?
Yeah, it does. But let me just say this off that. People are blaming the loss on Dak.
No.
Yeah, no. A lot. Not saying you guys. Social media, all that. Talk about the Cowboys as usual. It gets them the headlines, gets them the views. They blame it on Dak. If Dak was on any other team, they'd be sticking up for Dak, guaranteed. But since he plays with the star on the side of his helmet, that's what happens.
Well, what do you think?
You get that one pick. I get that wasn't his fault. I get that. That's fair. But the other one, if he if you have 2 turnovers in a game, regardless of how it happened, you can't say he played amazing. You could say he played well, he played good. But to say he played, Dak Prescott played amazing and we lost this game.
He played okay, we'll go on to the next
If
subject.
he had those 2 bad plays, then he could have made 2 more great plays to just like bounce it out, and then that would have gotten you the game.
Well, let me ask you this, D-Mel. Who do you feel like is to blame the most? Because like you can say the receivers, obviously they had a lot of drop passes, but like also the defense made Trevor Lawrence look like an all-pro, which granted he's looked really good the past couple of weeks, but they give up 40 points to the Jaguars, and they helped allow the Jaguars to come back from down 17. Do you blame it on the play calling, the defense? Like what's the big issue that you think?
Most of my blame goes to Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Yes, he put up 34 points. That's great. But why are we passing the ball when we're up 27-10? You have one of the best duo running backs in the league, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. You should be running it down their throats, draining the clock. I also blame it on clock management by Mike McCarthy. We all know that he isn't the best at managing the clock. He was terrible in that regard in the end of the fourth quarter, where we decided to pass it on 3rd down, incomplete, and we had to punt to Jacksonville with a timeout left, and they came down and got the field goal to send it to OT.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, not the best decisions, but I still think I think Jacksonville's a very good team too.
Mhm.
I think they're probably going to win the AFC South now, assuming they can win tonight, and it's going to be interesting to see how Dallas can kind of hopefully learn from that loss. Because remember they almost had the game against the Texans, the week before, that was a game that nobody thought should have been close, and they almost lost that one too. So
Yeah.
I feel like to an extent, I feel like the Eagles too have had a couple games that like are close that shouldn't have been close.
Colts.
But yeah, the Colts game. But that happens, I guess, as the year goes on. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, Voice of God, how did we do in our game picks last week?
All right. So, looking at our game picks from last week, it was a close one. Casey was helping me this morning, like 5 minutes before starting, going through the game picks, sort of seeing where we're at. And he was using the red color a lot. The nice thing was he didn't have to use it too much. So at the end of the day, to no one's surprise, Zach won. Zach finished the week 11-5. Casey finished the week 10-6.
Okay.
And I would like to point out that the difference maker was the Steelers-Panthers game. So fuck you, Casey. Difference maker. There were a couple. That was definitely the difference maker. You were wrong, so you lost. I didn't know the Panthers were going to revert back to 2-7 max rule form. Here we are. And Mitch Trubisky actually looked like a competent quarterback for once. Didn't see that. Well, you were wrong. So it sucks to be you. So Zach is now still ahead, 14 games. And it's looking bleaker and bleaker for Casey every minute. Well, I got to average like 5 games a week. That's happened a couple times, like maybe once.
Is it even fair to have a punishment at this point? Because we haven't even thought of one, and it's basically us deciding now, all right, how do we punish Casey?
We knew in advance there was going to be a punishment. But,
we make him watch Seattle Seahawks Russell Wilson highlights.
Just subject to watch the final 3 games of the Broncos. That'll be bad enough. Oh my gosh. We'll come up with something good. That game being on Nickelodeon is literally child abuse. But anyway, with that being said, I guess we should probably move on now to week 16. Playoff races are getting tight. Every team is in action, and it's coming down to the wire. There's a big game tonight. I don't want to spend too much time on these game picks just so we can focus on Philly and Dallas, but we can touch on a couple of these games if we want to as we go. Let's start with the game tonight, Thursday Night Football, Jaguars, Jets. Basically a must-win for both these teams to keep their playoff hopes alive. Jets trying to stay in the wild card race. Jaguars trying to stay in the AFC South race. Dino, you're the visitor, you're the guest, so I'm going to have you go first. Who do you think's going to win this game?
Where's it at?
It's in New York.
Okay. I think Jacksonville will win. Jets have been kind of like on a slump recently. Trevor Lawrence is balling out, obviously against my boys. He did. I think they're just the better team right now. They're hot. They know they have a chance to win it, the AFC South. So I think they'll come out with the win.
Zach, what about you?
I agree. I think you got to go with the better quarterback and the better offense of recent. The Jets started off the season so well, and then ever since injuries started to hit them and switching the quarterback in and out, it's like, no, Jaguars are just too hot to pick against right now.
I'm a little tempted to say that's just because their defense is so good. But, this is the battle of number 1 overall pick versus number 2 overall pick in last year's draft. And I think Trevor Lawrence tonight, even though the weather is not going to be great, it's not going to be very conducive to throwing the football, I still think he's going to show why he was the number 1 pick and Zach Wilson was the number 2 pick. And I think the Jaguars are going to win this game tonight and continue their pursuit of winning the AFC South, which I predicted all the way back in week 3 and then moved off of for like the past 12 weeks because after I predicted that, the Jags lost like 4 games in a row, but it looks like it might actually happen. So either way, I'm taking Jacksonville to win. They're too good. Ravens, Falcons. So the Ravens don't have Lamar Jackson, but I'm good. I mean, I think the Ravens are too good of a team to lose this game. I think they're going to win.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Ravens will win. I think Desmond Ridder played absolutely terrible for Atlanta last week. And the Ravens are just a better football team, better talent.
Zach, what do you think?
There's no way I'm choosing the Desmond Ridder-led Falcons over the Ravens. And the Ravens haven't even been world beaters this season. It's like Desmond Ridder, when I saw he was starting, I had low expectations. And I'll be completely honest, I didn't watch a damn play from that entire game. But I just looked at the box score and I was like, yep, that's just what I expected. And it's going to be the same now. And who did they play last week? It wasn't a team.
It wasn't a good team.
It wasn't. I just forget. It was like
New Orleans. It was New Orleans.
Yeah. And he did that. And now you play an even better defense, the Ravens, and a better team. No way. I don't think that's going to be a close game at all.
I think this is a bounce back game for the Ravens. All right, Lions, Panthers. This game's in Carolina. Does it matter? Probably not. I mean, you got to think the Lions got to like lose one of these games eventually, but like it's not going to be this one. They're going to win. I think Dan Campbell's got that team playing way too good right now, and they're going to probably be a wild card team at this rate.
The Lions are hungry, dude. They're pissed off. They started off the season horribly, and there's no way they're going to lose to this Panthers team with how they've been playing as well. They're hot. You want to talk about hot teams right now? The Jaguars and the Lions. Top 2 picks in the draft. Now look how they're playing. Like, those teams both are trending in the right direction. And they're, I think, going to be looking good. Like 2 years from now even, I think they'll be right there in the playoff picture. And they're even flirting with it and being on the edge of it this year.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go with the Lions. Like Zach and Casey said, they're hot. It's one of the teams that you don't want to play right now. It's a team that I think is going to sneak into that 7th seed in NFC, and they're going to end up playing the Vikings. And I think the Vikings can get in some trouble with that game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if they do have to play the Vikings, that's not a team. I mean, to be honest, I don't think like the Vikings are not a scary team right now. I don't think, but especially not to the Lions who beat them earlier in the year. I think they would find a way if that ends up being the matchup. All right, big game this week for the NFC playoff race. Chiefs, Seahawks in Arrowhead. The Seahawks are slumping. They've lost 2 straight. Kansas City is coming off that overtime win to the Texans, who suddenly seem like they can play every team in the league close now. Yeah, I got to take Kansas City, and not just because they're on paper the better team, but they match up too well, I think, with Seattle. I think they're going to pick that secondary. The secondary is still strong suit, but I think they can pick that apart. And I think more importantly, I would not be surprised if Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon have like 150 rushing yards combined on the ground for Kansas City, because Seattle just cannot stop the run to save their lives. I want to see Seattle win this game. I don't think they're going to. I think Kansas City's got it in the bag.
I agree. I don't think there's any way Seattle wins this game. And now that Hurts is injured, naturally, Mahomes is just going to start going off and just lock up the MVP. And I think this game is just going to be the first week where we start to see that. Yeah, I predict Mahomes going to throw 3-4 touchdowns, 300+ yards, and they're just going to easily take care of business this week.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with Chiefs also. I think Seattle on their slump 2-game losing streak. Gino hasn't been playing the best, and obviously Mahomes is Mahomes, and he'll do Mahomes things. And they had a rough week last week, even though they pulled off the win. And I think they're gonna come out hungry this game and show them why they're a true contender in the AFC.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we're 4 for 4 so far. I wonder if this is the game where maybe we start to differ a little bit. Saints, Browns. The Saints actually have a lot to play for. The Browns don't, but they just beat the Ravens last week. Give me the Saints. I think this is actually a game they can win. I think the Browns are going to come back to earth a little bit with Deshaun Watson. And hey, the Red Rifle, the savior of Jace's dynasty team, might just end up leading New Orleans to a win. Give me the Saints in this one. I think they've got a good chance.
I'm not sure about this one. Do I have to pick one?
I would like to add a little tidbit that I got from watching that Browns-Ravens game. In the time that Deshaun Watson has come back, the Browns have scored 2 touchdowns on offense.
Yeah.
Every single game he has played, and they weren't even only his touchdowns. That includes rushing touchdowns.
Oh my God.
They've scored twice. Just want to put that out there.
They seem to be playing better with Brissett. Give me the Saints. I'm not gonna disagree on this game with you and then choose the Browns with Deshaun Watson and how unpromising that team has looked so far. And that says a lot because I do not even like the Saints at all this year.
I did at one point.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to say it, but to be fair, I mean, like if we go back to the first 2 episodes and me talking about the Broncos, dude.
I mean, I didn't think that Jameis was going to lose his starting job by week 2. I mean,
I didn't think that Russell Wilson was going to stop being like even a remotely competent quarterback the majority of the time.
Yeah, but here we are. What do you think for this game?
I'm gonna go the opposite of what you guys said. I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Browns. They're more talented, I think. They have one of the best run games in the league. Nick Chubb's, I think, the best running back in the league. They play physical football. Is it in Cleveland?
Yes.
And it's in Cleveland, cold weather. I'm gonna take the Browns.
Okay. Spicy pick. Texans, Titans. Now, this is Malik Willis Titans, to be clear, because Tannehill might not play again this year. Titans obviously are still in the AFC South race.
Give me the Texans, dude.
Well, I'm going to say the same.
They've had 2 close games now against 2 great teams that they couldn't finish. But I think this week, they're definitely going to No, Malik Willis isn't going to beat the Texans. If they play how they've played recently, they'll win yeah. I didn't really know what more to say after that. It's like, yeah, there's no way I'm picking Malik Willis over the Texans.
I mean,
he hasn't looked good at all.
to be fair, Malik Willis did beat the Texans in his first start earlier this year.
And he didn't have to do anything though.
It's true. Yeah, you stole my upset pick this week, Zach. I think the Texans are going to win too. I still don't think they're a good football team, but like somehow they're playing close with the Chiefs and the Cowboys, and whatever they're doing at quarterback with Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll rotating in and out, which is not exactly the most menacing quarterback combo in the league, but apparently it works for them because they've looked good ever since then. I just they've been playing too good the last couple weeks to not get a win. I think this is where it happens.
I'm also going to go on the opposite scale of things and go with the Tennessee Titans. Not Malik Willis is any good, but I think that they do have the best run game, or one of the best run games other than Cleveland. And they can now start using read options with Derrick Henry and Malik Willis. And the Titans have also decent defense. So, and they know Jacksonville's coming for that first place in the AFC South. So I think Tennessee is going to squeak out a win.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I could see that happening too. I think like Tennessee, I feel like if they could run the ball against Houston's front, then I think they have a good chance. But we'll see. I don't know. That every week there's this upset you don't see coming. I feel like this is the week it happens for the Texans. All right, Bengals, Patriots, two teams that are at opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of momentum. The Patriots are coming off something, and the Bengals are coming off a 17-point comeback. So yeah, give me Cincy in this game. I think I'm not so sure they're not like. I don't want to go as far as to say they're the best team in the league right now, but like they look like they're going to be really tough to stop in the playoffs the way they're playing right now. I think the Bengals win this one too.
Now that they just added Jamar Chase back into the lineup, yeah, Cincinnati's pretty hot right now, and they beat Tom Brady last week. Now they're going to beat his former head coach and former team for a very long time. I think this is – well, let me start by saying this. Whenever the Patriots are on, whether it's prime time or just like 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, dude, I can't watch that game. They're the most boring team to watch in the league, I think, at least this offense. And the Bengals, in my opinion, are the complete opposite. I think they're one of the most fun offenses to watch, and I think they're just a much better team this year, and they're just going to take care of business.
I agree. I'm going to go with the Bengals. Obviously, they're the better team, one of the best teams in the league. They're going to continue to stay hot. Jamar Chase is going to continue to cook with Burrow. And that offense is just so powerful. It's going to overwhelm them. So I think Bengals easily get a win.
Yeah. So Giants, Vikings, game that's big in the NFC playoff race. You know what? Give me the Giants. What their defense did the other night against Washington. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau looked incredible, and if they can do that against the Vikings defense is terrible. I think this is a game where the Giants match up really well with them, and I think they're going to win.
Give me the Vikings. I think they're going to build off of last week's comeback. And honestly, last week's game, we didn't even touch on that. But it's one of those things where I feel like, yes, that's very impressive on the Vikings. But also, if you come back from down 33-3, a lot of that has to do with the other team just being incompetent as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, good for the Vikings. They're going to win again this week. But if they lost this game to the Giants, I will not be shocked either, just because I think the Vikings, as a lot of people suspected when they were at the top of the NFC, right, with the Eagles, and they still are, but I think now as the season's going on, a lot of people are starting to see what exactly that team is as they reveal their true colors, and it's just, yeah, I think it'll be a good game at the very least, but I don't see the Giants winning this one.
I'm going to agree with Casey here. I think the Giants are going to pull it off. Played well last week. Their defense played well. Saquon I know he was dealing with something in his neck earlier in the last 2 weeks. So I think he's getting healthier. I don't trust the Vikings at all. I think they're frauds. I think everyone knows that. Last week, if they play like that against Philly, Dallas, 49ers in the playoffs, they ain't coming back. Like, I mean, maybe Dallas blows another lead, but with elite teams, they won't. I don't think they'll do well in the playoffs.
That's the thing about the Vikings, though. All those teams you listed are easily, in my opinion, better than the Vikings, regardless of their record. But at the same time, the Vikings, then they're like right below them, too. It's not like there's then all these wild card teams where I wouldn't go as far to say, like, oh, Commanders are better, Giants are better, and then even teams on the bubble like Seahawks. Like, no, I think the Vikings, they're just right below all of them. But at the same time, I don't see them beating any of these teams above them in the playoffs. But even if the Vikings were to play a team like the Giants in the playoff, I think the Vikings will take care of business against them. I can't see the Giants winning another one this week.
Also, to build off of what Zach was talking about with, the Colts being incompetent as a team overall. So there was one special teams touchdown in that game. Besides that, every single touchdown besides one, the Vikings were on offense. Both teams.
I know, and they jumped out to that lead extremely early on in the game, right?
Yeah, it was at
a lot of
halftime.
first
It was
quarter.
33-0 because they had a pick six, they had a blocked punt for returned for a touchdown, and then they had one touchdown of their own for the Colts. And then the Vikings scored all of their touchdowns with their offense. So the Colts offense scored one touchdown and their defense and special teams scored two.
And I don't know the exact stat off the top of my head, but I still remember in the past hearing how if a team scores a special teams touchdown, just one in a game, then their odds of winning just dramatically increase. And the fact that they had multiple defensive and special teams touchdowns and then still lost that game, the Colts are terrible.
I'm gonna go back to this conversation that we had after we filmed the show, because we filmed it right before that game, Zach, and we were saying how Jeff Saturday, he can't lose on Saturday. It's just not meant to be.
And then at first I texted you saying, "Oh my God, Jeff Saturday is Saturdaying the Vikings so hard." And then at the end of the game, I was like, "Dude, Jeff Saturday just Saturdayed himself. Literally, what is this game?"
Yeah, that was bad. That was rough. But either way, yeah.
I'll say this. You know how we, right when he got hired, we're saying how this is kind of his audition to be a head coach for the Colts or just really any team. Yeah. It's safe to say no one's going to hire him, or at least the Colts aren't, after giving up the largest lead in NFL history.
He's going to go back to ESPN after this. Oh, well, that's what it is. All right, Bills, Bears. I really don't have much to say about this. I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think I could see. Maybe the Bears can play with them, but they're just like Justin Fields is a little banged up. Their receiving core is banged up. I don't see any way how you're going to hang with a team like the Bills, even in Chicago. I think Buffalo wins.
Yeah, Buffalo's going to win this one. Justin Fields looked great last week, and there's so many times we see where he just puts the team on his back and will just take off running the football. But the Bills are not a team that he can beat all by himself. And with how he's been playing, he's kept the Bears extremely competitive. But Bills are going to handle business.
I'm also going to go with the Bills. Easy choice. Bills are elite, obviously. Josh Allen, Diggs, that defense. Bears won't be able to keep up. Bills are going to win.
All right, Commanders, 49ers. Big game for Washington as they're in the wild card race. 49ers are fighting for the 2 seed. Give me the Niners. They might honestly.
I know what he's gonna say. I know what he's gonna say.
Dude, the
Yeah.
Niners scare me as an Eagles fan. I don't want to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know that they're not the best team in the NFC right now.
They're coming out of the NFC.
They might be.
I don't care who their quarterback is. I'll let you finish your take. We'll get to that though.
I don't know if they're going to come out of the NFC, but they look unstoppable right now with how they're playing. I think they win this game too. Is moral of the story. I think they'll beat the Commanders.
I think Heineke's gonna have a really rough game. Last week, there's so many plays where I was like, bro, come on. And that's the thing about him. He'll always keep you. He like makes games so competitive, and the team is better with him than Wentz. But at the same time, it's not like he's definitely not great, and I wouldn't even say he's good, but he's also not bad. He's just a very just odd player. I don't know. The team, they could compete with anyone, but then they'll just lose to anyone, and they're not beating the Niners. I think they're gonna give him a horrible game. I think they're just gonna be all over him, and I just don't think Taylor Heineke's physically or gifted enough or like talented enough or just simply good enough to really be able to do much against that Niners defense when we see elite quarterbacks at the top of the league having a rough day against them.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I'm going to pick the Niners. I think they're my favorites to come out of the NFC also. I might be a little biased, but yeah, I am going to go with the Niners. They're more talented. That defense is the best in the league.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Raiders Steelers 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. Steelers going to win this game. I think they have to, especially with Franco Harris passing away this week. They're going to have a fire lit under them. I have not picked against the Steelers. I have not picked for the Steelers much this season. I think they're going to win this game. I don't see any way Tomlin lets them lose this.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers also.
I'm going to go a little out of order here. Chargers, Colts. We'll start with the Monday night game. Nick Foles is back, baby, for Indianapolis. He's going to start against the Chargers, and it's not going to matter. Chargers going to win. I mean, Justin Herbert's putting the team on his back. They look good every week. They're gonna take care of business.
Wait, say that again. Nick Foles is starting this game. So you mean to tell me that Nick Foles and Trace McSorley are starting the same weekend of the National Football League?
You could say that, yeah.
Bro, it really is Christmas. It's literally a Christmas miracle. That's amazing. But yeah, no, dude, the Colts are not winning this game. I'm sorry. I love Nick Foles. But dude, if it's been this long since he's seen the field, God bless that man. I'm not even religious, but like I know he is, and I could literally spend this whole episode talking about my admiration of Nick Foles. But I'll say this. If he beats the Chargers, that's impressive. That just proves that Nick Foles is literally Jeff Saturday proof. So
I'm going with the Chargers also. Chargers have been playing well. Justin Herbert, top 5 quarterback in the league. Colts have no shot.
Yeah, I agree. All right, these Christmas games are pretty terrible, but Dolphins, Packers, Dolphins win. They've been too close to I mean, they were close to beating the Bills last week. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They're going to snap it at home. I think they're going to knock the Packers out of the playoffs. They'll get the win.
Yep. Dolphins are a much better team than the Packers. The Packers just are not good this year. People are being patient with them just because you have to. It's Aaron Rodgers. You expect them to always be there in the playoffs as long as he's playing there. But no, the team is just not good this year.
Well, I'm going to go with the Packers. I'm not counting out Aaron Rodgers quite yet. They can still make their push. They're still in it. They're still looking from the outside. They're in the bubble. But Miami, I think people are starting to figure them out. Make Tua throw towards the sideline, make those long throws, cover the middle of the field. And I think Green Bay is going to pull it out. Miami also doesn't have a good defense either.
Yeah, that's true. Their defense didn't look that good, but we'll see what their offense can do in a much warmer climate than what they played last week. All right. Wow, this game is so terrible. Broncos Rams. I'm wearing the Broncos hat because we beat the Cardinals last week. I'm willing to almost bet you that's going to be our last win this year. Give me the Rams. This game is literally going to be. This will be unwatchable.
Is Russell Wilson back?
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't even matter though.
My thoughts exactly.
But it's like, how do I pick the Rams?
Baker Mayfield.
It's one of those games where it's like, can I just not pick anyone? Can this be the first game where I pick a tie? How would that affect?
He gets
us?
double points if he calls that.
Dude,
If you pick tie and it's not a tie, then we'll just count it as wrong.
that'd be so cool if it was, right? No, give me the Rams. I'm not gonna pick. I kept picking the Broncos, and I got so many wrong at the start of the season because I was picking for them, and I feel like there's no way I'm picking them again, even against the Rams. I would pick the majority of the teams in the NFL at this point in the season to beat the Rams, but I'm not gonna pick the Broncos to do it just because it's the Broncos. And at least the Rams have McVay. They have Mayfield, who he's played so far better than Russell Wilson has this season somehow. Like since he was added to the Rams roster, and it's a small sample size, but it's still more impressive than what we've seen from Russell Wilson, let alone anybody on the Broncos for the most part, outside of few select players.
I'm gonna go with Casey's Broncos. Definitely if Russell Wilson's back. The Rams are just depleted right now. I think they're only their offense. I couldn't name you a single receiver right now other than Van Jefferson. Skoranek is out for the season also now. So
Who is they have Tutu Atwell.
yeah, but like exactly. So I'm gonna go with Denver in this one.
I don't know. I could see it going either way, but I can't pick for this team anymore. It's been brutal. All right, there's one more game we have to talk about before we get to Eagles Cowboys final Christmas game.
Here from Briarwoods, I'm wearing number 9. That Coach Franklin down at Handy, flipped to Happy Valley. Now I'm coming back and got the natty on my mind.
So anyway,
As a proud Penn State fan, I am happy to say that is probably the most irritating song I've ever heard in my life. It's like, okay, anyways, what?
Well, I can't play that song and not pick the Cardinals, so give me the Cardinals. You never know. It could happen. The greatest quarterback of all time could beat Tom Brady. I think it's going to happen. Maybe.
Dude, if it does, it won't. Give me the Bucs. I think Trace McSorley could play extremely well, and they'll still lose this game. I think the Bucs are going to bounce back. I think they got to be pissed off after last week, coming out hot against the Bengals and then just losing the lead. But dude, that Cardinals team, it's like, come on. They already knew their season was over. Now that they don't have Kyler Murray, it's like, when you're down to your third string quarterback, regardless of our personal bias and love for Trace McSorley, at the end of the day, he is a third string quarterback. And the Cardinals, even with their first string, were struggling. It's just, they'll be lucky to win another game this season, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucs. I agree with Zach. I think the Bucs are gonna be pissed. They start off hot against the Bengals, looking like they were gonna win that game. But the Bucs are just better. I'm still waiting. I'm still being patient on the Bucs. Eventually, they're gonna have to blossom. As a Cowboys fan, that's who I don't want to play in the first round, even though that is the most likely scenario right now. I don't want to play Tom Brady in the playoffs. Simple as that. So I'll take the Bucs in this one.
See, conventional wisdom would say I should pick the Bucs also, and every reason I can think of is that the Bucs are going to win. But the Cardinals have Trace McSorley, so here we are.
Would you pick the Bucks if it was Colt McCoy?
Oh,
Their second?
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. That's where it's like I have to pick the Bucks.
You know
I
what?
want the Cardinals to win.
I'm at the point where my game picks are so far behind, I don't think it matters anymore. So give me Trace and see what happens. That's my philosophy. See if the Cardinals can pull off a Christmas miracle.
That's fair.
Anyway, all right. With that being said, let's get to the top of the hour. Zach, how long do we have you for?
What time is it? 4:20. The full hour. Literally, this isn't gonna go on for. We can go until 4:40. How about that?
We'll go next 20 minutes. Let's talk about it. Cowboys, Eagles in Dallas, week 16. Not quite the matchup we were hoping for with Jalen Hurts not being able to play, but it'll be still the best team in the NFL record-wise. Gardner Minshew, Eagles 13-1, going up against the 10-4 Dallas Cowboys, who have locked up a playoff spot and will most likely be the 5 seed, but technically could still win the NFC East if crazy things happen. Either way, when these two teams played back, what week was that? That was week 6. I'm trying to find
6, I think.
Now, that game was very similar to this one in the fact that we had a backup quarterback playing. Cooper Rush played for the Cowboys against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Eagles won that game by a score of 26-17. That game was not really as close maybe as the final score indicated, even though Cooper Rush tried to lead a comeback late going through 3 picks. Eagles were undefeated at that time. The only loss they've had, obviously, was to Washington. This week, week 16, Eagles, they get Dallas Goedert back. I know that, but they lose Jalen Hurts. So, Zach, I'm going to start with you. Give me your general predictions / overview / who you think is going to win this game.
I don't know. I think
He wants to pick Philly. I know he wants to.
I'm not going to. I'll just start by saying
You did that
Dallas-
last time. You don't believe in your own team. That is crazy.
I don't. Well,
You don't believe in your own team.
I believe in my team with my starting quarterback in the lineup.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You picked the Cowboys to beat Philly with Cooper Rush.
Okay, that was much earlier in the season.
Yeah,
now my team. Are you gonna let me speak? I'm gonna let you speak,
bro.
sir. Okay, since then, flash forward to where we are now. We are currently 13-1. About to basically safe to say we're gonna be the number 1 seed in the league. Things have changed quite a bit. And even it wasn't just against the Cowboys. Earlier on, I've picked the Eagles to lose a bunch of games, and then they proved me wrong. And I'm happy that they did. And I thought even going into the season, we probably were going to split with Dallas on the season. And it's looking like it's just going to work out that way just naturally because you guys didn't have Dak last time. Now we're not going to have Hurts. But my prediction is you're going to win this one, but we're going to see each other again in the playoffs. I think you guys are going to win the wild card round, and then you'll be our first opponent in the playoffs. And I think well-rested coming off a first round bye, I think we're going to beat you in the playoffs. But then I think we're just going to run right into the 49ers in the NFC Championship, and they're just going to bring us back down to earth. And the Niners will return to the Super Bowl regardless of who they have at quarterback because that defense led by former Eagle DeMeco Ryans has been that good.
All right, DML, what are you thinking here? Dallas. I mean, this is Dallas has a lot to lose, I feel like, if they lose this game. This is one of those games where it's everyone's predicting them to win this game. This is a game it feels like they have to win, right?
Yeah. I believe so. Just because the loss last week. That was a diminishing loss, and sorry, the dog is going absolutely nuts right now. Go. So
Here we're talking about Philly, Dallas.
yeah, my dog was chasing her tail. Okay, but anyway, so Pepper, go lay down. All right, so I think Dallas needs to win this game. I think Philly's just gonna lock it up. in the NFC East in the first seed. So I think they're more playing for like a pride standpoint of saying, hey, we are an elite team. We are one of the contenders. We've been looking forward to this since week 6. All Dallas fans have. Dak's been looking forward to this. Players on the defense like Michael Parsons, but Philly exposed. I think this could be a close game. I think Philly has an elite roster where Minshew doesn't have to do much to win this game. I'm gonna go Dallas in a close one. 31-28 game-winning field goal.
Ooh, okay. Okay, we'll talk more about this game, but I'll just get my pick out of the way. I do think Dallas wins. I think I picked Dallas to win the first game too, if I remember correctly. But
I was the only one to, or no, we all pick Dallas?
Yeah. I will pick Dallas. I will be honest. I don't know if I would have picked them if they had Hurts or not. I'd have to think about that. But obviously, without Hurts, I'm gonna say Dallas. Dallas probably wins this. I don't know if it's gonna be that high scoring. I think it's gonna be Dallas 24, Philly 16 would be my guess. That's my score prediction.
Also, I just did a fact check. So Zach did actually cast in his vote for the Eagles to win the first matchup.
That's what I thought.
However,
I remember him being like, "Oh, it's gonna be Cooper Rush. He's gonna pull it out," and then he changed his mind because I picked on him too much.
Zach, you said you wanted the Eagles to be your pick, but you then followed up by saying that you knew that they were going to lose, but you wanted to just put that down so that it looked like you were supporting your team.
I do remember this.
Zach, what is your official pick and score prediction for this game?
The Cowboys. I legitimately think they're going to win this game.
What's the score going to be?
I don't think it's going to be as close as D-Mel thinks it will be.
I'm just giving respect to the Eagles. They're a good team, and I don't trust my Cowboys. So
that's the thing. Also, I have to see Gardner Minshew play this season. I expect him. He's going to be decent. But I mean, Hurts has just been on that level where it's like, I guess we're going to kind of undergo the 49ers situation where we're going to see just how quarterback proof our team is. I mean, they've proven that you can literally throw anyone at quarterback and they're going to be just fine. But I don't know about this Eagles team with how even when we struggle, I mean, he has plenty of receivers. We're getting Dallas Goedert back, which is also huge. Didn't mention that. He's been out a few games, but that's just another receiver who I think this season when playing has been a top 5 tight end. And throw him into the mix with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. On offense, it's sort of just like pick your poison. Defense is playing out of its mind. We had 3 dudes with 2 sacks last week. I think we'll get pressure on Dak. And you know what?
Oh, here we go again. Yep, here we go. Because I gave him some shit about it. Here we go. He's gonna choose the Eagles.
No, we're gonna lose, but I don't think it's gonna be. At first, I was gonna say I thought we were gonna lose by 2 scores, but I do think it will be.
The NFL's got to keep their ratings up, Zach. They're gonna make it close.
Give me 27-20.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
I think.
All right, so there are tiebreaker scores.
Yeah, I will say this. I do think if this game was played in Philly, I might take the Eagles. If it was,
I agree. I think Gardner Minshew would just like buy into the crowd and just there would be so much energy at the link. And also with those 2 teams, we both could be 2 of the worst teams in the entire league that season. And both teams are still always going to give it their all. just
I
because that rivalry. They hate each other so much.
But with like the weather too, I mean, it's going to be cold all week in the Northeast. Like if Dallas has to come play in a cold environment in Philly, like that's kind of like what it was a couple of years ago when I remember they were playing for the NFC East. And it was Wentz's last real year in Philly, the last year before he got like completely screwed. And they ended up winning that game, winning the division before getting knocked out by Seattle in the playoffs. Like I could see something similar to that happening if it was in Philly, but I do think in Dallas, like it's hard for me to justify. And Dallas coming off the loss too, like I think they're going to be coming out with a bit of a fire under them as well.
I'll say
I
this.
Okay, you
I'll
go.
let you finish first, though.
Oh, well, I was gonna change the topic, so you can finish.
I'll say this. We saw it last week. Or also to piggyback off of what you just said, with Dallas is going to be pissed off after how that game ended last week. They lost that game, and realistically, they shouldn't have, especially when they're leading at the end. And then, like when it went to overtime, it was a mess. Not the ending they would have liked, obviously. But from the Eagles' side of things, you saw last week against the Bears. When you're 13-1, every single week, it doesn't matter who you play, you're going to be getting that team's very best because they want to knock you off. It literally could be the Texans who have one win, but even you saw from them these past 2 weeks, when you get a chance to play against the top teams in the league, ultimately you're playing for respect at that point because you're not making the playoffs, but it's like it's respect and pride. And I think the Cowboys are going to be looking to do that against the Eagles. And while the team is vulnerable without Jalen Hurts, figuring out how to adjust the offense in a short time frame, probably not too much. And I know he does have history with Nick Sirianni, so it's not like he was on the team last year, second year in the system. I think Minshew will be fine, but the Cowboys will be playing pissed off, and I think they're playing the Eagles at the perfect time of them being vulnerable and already basically having the number 1 seed locked up.
I agree with that. I want to get.
Sorry.
You go. Yeah.
Zach, you said about like everyone is giving Phillies their best shot, right? Like
Yeah.
the Bears are playing their hardest. That's Dallas every week, right? Everyone wants to beat the Cowboys
Because
everyone wants to beat America's team. Everyone wants to beat that star on the helmet because they want to be in that uniform. But
it's also because everyone hates Dallas, and
let's just talk about. I'm going to talk about the game. I think a big thing that no one's really talking about this game is the way in week 6 Philly used Hurts' rushing ability against Dallas. We used that against Micah Parsons. Got him to start thinking. Now what does Philly do with Minshew? I know he can kind of run, but now it's going to be a war in the trenches between the Eagles offensive line and the Cowboys defensive line with Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, because Minshew is not known for his running and getting out of the pocket much. So I think that's going to be not going to be an issue for any team, but it's going to be something interesting to watch.
It's going to come down to how our receivers do against your secondary, I think. Because, our offensive line, everyone's there and playing. Everyone knows it's good, but Jason Kelce, all-pro, Pro Bowler. Lane Johnson, all-pro, Pro Bowler. Landon Dickerson now, this threw me off. I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was playing that well this season because it's an offensive lineman. You're not going to hear about it. I guess it's good. It's like a corner. If you don't hear about an offensive lineman, you assume they're doing well. But Landon Dickerson, he just got a Pro Bowl nod this year. And then Jordan Mailata, he's a beast. Everyone already knows that. And then Sayamalu, he's been a solid starter on the offensive line for a few seasons now. That's a very, very good unit. I would argue it's the best offensive line in the league this season. Put Gardner Minshew behind it. Give him enough time to just give Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Goddard a shot to do their thing. I don't know how we'll be able to run the ball this game. Because our offensive line is great. Miles Sanders having probably the best year of his career, I'd say. But also like with Micah Parsons, and then did DeMarcus Lawrence? I thought I heard he got a Pro Bowl nod as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So, but regardless, your front seven is pretty good. It's pretty good, and I think we're not going to be able to. We'll run the ball decent, but at the end of the day, if we want to win this game, it's going to come down to can we throw it, and can Gardner Minshew throw it and push us over the top and win this one.
Can America's QB put the Eagles on his back against America's team? That's the question. All right, we have about like 5 minutes. DML, I want to get your thoughts on this because we mentioned this a little bit last week with Zach. I want to get your thoughts on the comments Micah Parsons made about the Eagles and about Jalen Hurts. I want to just get your opinion on that, and I want to know, obviously now that Jalen's hurt, he's probably not going to end up being the MVP, but do you feel like that before his injury, he deserved to be an MVP favorite?
My thoughts about the podcast were interesting. I don't think Micah Parsons meant it in the way that he did, first of all. He knows Hurts has been very good this year. But something that I just laughed about that interview is that back in all the years for Dak Prescott, everyone has said it's because of the system, right? It's because of the system. It's because of the weapons. And now that Jalen Hurts is in that seat, oh, it's all Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is so good. They got an elite roster around Jalen Hurts. But at the same time, all elite quarterbacks have elite rosters around them. So Hurts has been playing well, but I just think it was funny and comical that when Dak Prescott had that rookie season and a couple other years, they blamed that he wasn't the it factor and it was everything around him. But I hope Jalen Hurts doesn't win MVP just because he's an Eagle. But he's definitely deserving of it if he does win.
What do you think in your pick?
I'm picking Mahomes. I'll never admit to a Philly player winning MVP, but he's definitely, if he's not one, he's two. So,
Dima, honestly,
yeah.
I do think you made a really good point where it's like a lot of it. I think it's both. It's how can you say it's not both? Because the team is fantastic this year. They went out and got AJ Brown to add to Devontae Smith in his second year. And then you already have Dallas Goedert taking a step forward now that Ertz is out of the picture. It's that supporting cast is so good. The team has done its job of surrounding Hurts with great coaches, great talents all up and down the roster. But at the same time, then Hurts has improved drastically as a passer. We've always known he could run the ball, and he's even gotten better at that. But as a passer, he's not only is he making throws, but he's attempting throws that I would have never seen him even think to attempt years past. And he's doing it with ease. He's just making throw after throw that just look good. But at the same time, if anyone says, "Oh, it's all Hurts," it's like, no, it's just not true. It's a team thing. It's a team effort, and everybody has done their job. And as a result, if you look at the power rankings for NFL, we're the best team in the league, regardless of like what someone may think. Like, we have the best record in the NFL for a reason. It's not just Jalen Hurts. It's the coaches. It's the roster. It's literally everything just working out. Best case scenario.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's going to be fun to watch on Saturday. Even though Zach picked the Cowboys, do not let that fool you. I guarantee you, come Saturday, if this game is close, he is going, like, if the Eagles lose a close game, I guarantee you that fans will be broken, footstools will be flipped. Zach is going to be frustrated if it's close, and he will be
You
rooting
never
hard.
want to lose to Dallas.
Yeah, and I'm sure D-Mel will film, and I really hope that we get some reactions after the game, because I think that would
I'll say this too. I'll say this. Honestly, do we want to do that? Just instant reactions. If it's a good reaction, if it comes down to the end And rather than just like raging and taking out all my frustration on a pillow, I'll just like record it and just like spew the most like not safe for work commentary imaginable. But I will say this though, D-Mel, while we have you on the show still, and while I'm still here before I go, after the game switched on to overtime of the Cowboys Jaguars, and right as it did that, the ending play happened. Dude, it took me everything in me to not text you right as that happened, but I'm like, no, I can't do it. I don't want to be that asshole. Because I knew if that happened to the Eagles or if I was a Cowboys fan, dude, I literally would be like busy like with my fist halfway through the screen already. So like it's
Hey, I always said that Eagles fans will take a Cowboys loss over their Eagles win because we just live rent free in their heads. So
I would
yeah,
not
they
for
do.
me. I don't think
Not
so.
for you, but in general, like I saw so many Eagles fans that I follow on Instagram that posted like what happened, Dallas, over them actually posting something about the
It was
Eagles.
Doug Peterson, to be fair.
And then and then they send him cheesesteaks. Like, come on, you can't tell me we don't live rent free in their head. I love it. But I love the rivalry. I'm excited for this game coming up. I wish both teams. I know Jalen Hurts is out, and I know Dallas has a couple key starters out. I just wish both teams were healthy so we could see this game. But hopefully, in the playoffs that time around, everyone will be healthy and we can see both teams at full power.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. We'll be back all to break it down next week, and I'm sure we'll get to our reactions one way or the other. But D-Mel, thank you for coming on the show. For D-Mel, for the voice of God, Jay Skibbins, and for my amazing co-host, Rhoda. Enjoy your holidays, your Christmas if you celebrate, or whatever holiday you celebrate this time of year. And we will enjoy Cowboys Eagles on Saturday, Christmas Eve. Can't wait for it. We will see you next week to break down that game and to preview Week 17 as the playoffs come to an end. But until then, have a happy holidays, everybody.